Okay, welcome. We appreciate it. We're nearly 100 people strong. If you know somebody that's not with us yet, be sure and reach out, invite them to what is going to be a great morning. We get to listen today to a great and positive training by none other than Money Michael Huggins. And here is a person that is so successful in what he's done in his life. He has raised himself up by the bootstraps. He took control of his life. He grabbed a hold of the Renatus experience and education and put this to work in his life. He successfully became the highest income earner in Renatus last year. And I'll be real surprised if he doesn't do it a second year this year, which is a challenge, because a challenge to all of us is what I want to say, is because it doesn't matter who you are in Renatus. You put in the effort, you're going to get the rewards. Mike will be the first one to tell you that, and he'll support you all the way. And we appreciate that. He is going to be here with us today. Michael, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing fantastic. Good morning, everyone else. Welcome to the call. It's Money Monday. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day to make some money. Right on. Thanks, Ron, for setting this up. And welcome, everyone here. If it's your first time, welcome. We're happy to have you. This is something that you're going to get used to over the next year of working with us. 52 weeks. You should be on these Money Mondays every single week. And if you're returning, well, welcome back. Consistency is a major key to your success. So keep showing up and focus on duplication. Bring someone with you. All right. I went and checked. I counted. I'm good at counting. There are 73 more days until Nationals. 73 days, baby. And we broke down the cost last time. You know, you're looking at $500-600 to go. Again, you can keep it a little bit cheaper, splitting costs, sleeping bags, you know, carpooling, all that stuff. But it is definitely time to get registered for Nationals. And speaking of Nationals, what the home team would like us to do, and we've done a fantastic job in the past, so we're going to do it again, is create a music video for the Nationals theme. So Brittany Snyder, Bob's wife, or Bob's daughter, made a song, a Nationals theme song for us called Renatus Rocks. And so recently, Renatus Corporate emailed out the lyrics and the song itself. And so what we're going to be doing is making some mashup videos. A mashup video, what is that, you say? A mashup video is where all of us are going to be making our own version of the music video, and then the home team at corporate's going to put all the pieces together in order to make a whole big, gigantic Renatus Nation music video. It's going to be awesome. So if someone would mind helping me, go onto YouTube and grab the links from the last couple years and paste them in the chat box so all the new folks can go and grab them and watch them. That would be awesome. But it's coming up again. It's time for our 2019 mashup. So I don't know if any of you put it on your goal list or your achievement list for this year to be in a music video, but it's time. Let's do some music video stuff. So go ahead and check the email there. Check for your email from corporate with the links there. They're also going to be adding it to Business Center if it's not already there. And speaking of presentations, there is our 4 Pillars of Wealth in Fort Collins. We're growing here in the Denver area. Okay, so music video mashup. Renatus Rocks is the theme song. Stick It to the Man, Stick It to the Man. You remember this when Bob came to the regionals and shared it with us. It's now time to turn that into a music video. It's about time. Okay, so I just looked. It is not in Business Center yet, but it is in our emails. Okay. I'm stoked about nationals. 73 days till it starts. So it's really like 72, 71 days until you were in Utah. All right. I'm gonna get my morning kombucha down. All right, here we go. I have a topic to cover with you guys on leadership and growth and being an example and being so attractive people can't ignore it type growth. That's what we're after. So I attended a training a while back and have continued that training, and it is the John Maxwell Leadership Training. It's been awesome. I've been doing it for like 3.5, almost 4 years now. And they supply us with lots of trainings. So we take the trainings and then they teach us how to give the trainings and then they give us the trainings. So today I want to talk about growth and making sure you have the right mental framework for this thing called growth. This thing that we're going after: personal growth, business growth, relationship growth. Making sure we're understanding what growth is so we can achieve it easier, faster, with less resistance. Enjoy the process. So I'm going to pull this PowerPoint up here. And did anyone find the music video mashups from last year and the year before? All right, so let me pull this up. It's called The Laws of Growth. All right, here we go. Loading, switching. Nice. Okay. Zoom, zoom. There we go. Here's the one from 2016, the Crush It music video. Dude, this was awesome. And if you look, you can count how many times I appear in this video. Now, it has nothing to do with me, but if you guys want to be in these, that's why they're making them. So let's check this out real quick.
Tell me that I can't prove you wrong. Tell me I can't be all that I want. Been a lot of places, seen a lot of people, and out of all my struggle, there's one thing that I know. Push right, feel my eyes, make it to the other side of this. Give me one chance. Both hands pushing the past into dust. Slows me crashing. I'll tell you, no amount of talking will get me there. I'm through believing the answer is somewhere else but here. Been a lot of places, seen a lot of people, and out of all my struggles, there's one thing that I know. I know it. Push right, feel my eyes, make it to the other side of this. Give me one chance. Both hands pushing the past into dust. On my mind, this is my spring. If we gone, it's all on me to victory. It's finally won. My mind, this is my spring. If we gone, it's all on me to victory. It's finally to the other side. If you want a chance, both hands pushing the past, pushing watch me crashing. Tell me that I can pull you home.
Woo! Renatus Nation, that was awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Cool. So we get to make one of those for our Renatus Rocks 2019 thing. This is going to be awesome. There's another link in here. So grab those links, share them with your teams, get some inspiration, show them what we're doing. It is a blast to create. It's fun to look back on. And then they're going to be showing it at the day one, minute one of nationals when they turn on, when they open the doors, when the whole national starts, the music video starts. So let's all be a part of that. Let's mash it up. You can send in little clips. Don't worry about sending in the audio. They're gonna sync up all the lips and everything. So don't worry about that. You just go out there and record and have some fun. Highlight your team, showcase what we got going on all over the country, and we'll be able to include you in that. Was that fun? Was that fun to watch? That was awesome. Lots of great people, great inspiration. So get on it. We want to see you up there. All right, let me switch over here now to the PPT. There we are. Okay. Here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. This is something that a lot of people neglect. They don't really think about. Are they growing intentionally? Are they growing on purpose? Are they growing in a certain direction? And what's stopping them from growing? So the laws of growth, first one is the law of intentionality and understanding that growth doesn't just happen. Right? We're not like plants where we just grow and grow and grow. We have to force this kind of growth. And do you have a plan for growth? Humans, just being a human, rarely grow. We need to be inspired. We need to be shown and cultivated and guided through this growth and have a plan for it. Otherwise, we're just surviving. We're just living. So there are some gaps that we got to jump in order to create the growth that we want. Now, these are different ways that different people are slowing down their growth, refusing to engage in growth, or disguising them thinking that they are growing when they're really just using one of these growth gaps. The first one is the assumption gap, that I automatically grow. The second one is the knowledge gap, right? I just don't know how to grow or in what direction to grow. The timing gap, right? I don't have the time, or it's not the right time to be growing and to be doing all these new things. These people, this is what our brains tell us sometimes. The mistake gap, I'm afraid of making mistakes. So because of that, I'm not going to go after it as much. I'm not going to try as hard. The perfection gap, I got to find the best way before I start, right? How many IMAs in our office, you look at them and you go, gosh, you're smart, you're intelligent, but what the heck is going on? Why haven't you made a sale? Why aren't you doing things? It's they're using the perfection gap. I want to find the best way before I start. The inspiration gap, I don't feel like growing. The comparison gap, the others are better than me. The expectation gap, I thought it would be easier than this, right? When they put me in that room and I went to the follow-up and they told me I could make money in real estate, I thought it was going to be easier than this. It's harder than they said. And so now there's another growth gap. So let's clean those up. Let's not get caught in them. Rome was not built in a day. So how long are you willing to give yourself to grow? Growing is sometimes hard to notice because it happens so slowly. Okay, so now to guide our growth plan, let's ask some questions. Where do you want to go in life? What direction? What's the farthest you can imagine going? And how long will it take? What's the farthest you can imagine taking your Renatus business? Where do you see that going to its fullest potential? Thousands of people on your direct team, multiple countries, multiple millions per year, properties on all over the world, right? What's the furthest you can imagine this going and how long will it take? And the key is do it now. Do it now, do it now, do it now. We're starting on it now. We're not waiting for any gaps. We're not waiting for timing. We're not waiting for perfection. We're not delaying based off of expectations. This is a do it now attitude, a do it now approach. This is a do it now community. There are a few fears to understand that first thing is understand with fear is it's not you, right? Fear is made up. It's a made up story that just seems so believable that we act on this made up fear. But fear is a part of the game. And so understanding and putting fear in its place, it's not real. It's just a story. But when you're looking at the fear, there are different kinds. There's the fear of failure. There's the fear of trading security for the unknown. Think about all those government workers that are dealing with stuff this last 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks of they had a secure government job and now there's the unknown. Okay, same thing here. When you're transitioning, the fear of being overextended on resources. So people will say, well, I've seen other people, so they got in trouble, they got hurt, they got in this position, and I don't want that. So I'm not going to take action, right? Or fear of what others think, or fear of pushing others away. Right? If I go be successful, what will my friends think? My friends will think I'm successful. That's what they'll think. Okay. Now ask yourself, compared to your desire to change and grow versus your fear, which emotion is stronger? Right? Your fear of pushing others away or your desire for change? Which emotion is stronger? Desire for change or your fear or the fear of failure or the fear of trading security for the unknown? When we're asking ourselves, we got to put way more desire and juice and energy into this emotion for change. Now take a screenshot of this. This has been helpful in listening to our language and listening to or helping a new person get started. There is a accidental growth and intentional growth. So on accidental growth, they plan on starting tomorrow, whereas intentional growth insists on starting now. Accidental growth just waits for growth to come, whereas intentional growth, we take responsibility to grow. Accidental growth only learns from mistakes. Intentional growth learns before mistakes. Accidental growth depends on good luck. Intentional growth is all about hard work. Right? We don't get lucky at Renatus, we just work hard. Good thing it's an easy job. Okay, accidental growth quits early and often. Intentional growth perseveres long and hard. Accidental growth falls into bad habits. Intentional growth fights for good habits. Accidental growth talks big. Well, intentional growth follows through. Accidental growth plays it safe. Intentional growth takes risks. Accidental growth thinks like a victim, whereas intentional growth is constantly thinking like a learner. What else can I learn about this? So catch yourself. Change it. Change yourself. Change the way you're talking about yourself or about your growth. What is your attitude? Are you relying on hard work, or are you saying things about luck? Right? If you keep relying on luck, here's what you got to understand. When it looks lucky, someone's like, oh man, I got lucky. Very rarely is it actually luck. Here's what I learned. Luck is an acronym. It means labor, which is another word for work. Labor under correct knowledge. Basically what they're saying is they worked with the right information. That's why it worked for them. They labored under correct knowledge. But accidental growth-minded people go, that person got lucky. Okay, next law in the law of growth is the law of awareness. We just covered the law of intention, the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself. So in our follow-ups here in Denver, we're talking about self-discovery and self-awareness as being one of your keys to growing and starting a successful business. So what are things that you should know about yourself? Well, we do a SWOT analysis. We talk about our strengths and our weaknesses. But also what else is important is your interests and your opportunities. Where you want to be versus where you are now. And we gotta know this in order to close that gap. So who are you? Are you the kind of person who doesn't know what they'd like to do, right? People who don't know what they like to do, they're confused. People who know what they want to do, but don't do it, they're frustrated. And the people who know what they want and do it are fulfilled. So what category are you falling into? Well, let's get you into that third category where you know what you want and you're doing it. That's so attractive that people want to be around you. This awareness and this self-discovery of what you can create. Now, Robert Schuler's quoted saying, if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? Would you call more people? Would you start doing presentations? You know, we need more presenters around the country. We need more chapters opening. We need more presenters. We still want to collaborate and work in the area when there's intensives and super Saturdays and everyone come together. But it's about growing. It's about branching out. So if you knew you could not fail, would you start a chapter? Would you see through it for years and help people achieve their goals and along the way achieve yours? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Would you make more offers on property? Would you stay up late and watch class? See, some of you are like, oh, what's the point of staying up late and watching this class? I'm going to screw it up anyway. No. If you knew you could not fail, what would you do? In the process of self-discovery, understanding what our passions are and our purpose. Our passions and our purpose give us direction. Here's something to ask. And you're going to run into this with your customers a lot, and so I like to spend a minute on this. Do what you like, or do you like what you're doing? If a person sets out to run a mile, and 3/4 of a mile ahead, there's a cliff. Should that person try to finish running the mile just because he started out to do so? So some of us have misunderstood. Changing direction is a risk, but what risk if you don't change? What risk are you putting up with, are you dealing with if you don't change? And then which risk would you rather live with? Right? There's the risk of changing, and then there's a risk of not changing. So I hear this version from our customers where they're like, well, I'm going to do this. I'd love to do this Renatus thing, but I'm still in college. I got about another year or so, and then I'm going to finish that. But we've already, and then they say this after we've already had a conversation about how they hate college. They don't know why they're there. They don't know what they're going to do. They're just doing generals, but they don't know how to pay for it. You got student loans up the wazoo, but their mind is, But I set out to run the mile. I set it out. I told my mom I was going to do this. I told my family I was going to finish this thing. But they don't know why they're going to college. They don't know what they're going for. They don't know how to afford it. They don't have the time for it. It's crushing them. But because they set out to do it, they're going to do it. So what are you doing like that? This is actually a psychological trap people put themselves in. It's called sunk cost bias. Sunk cost bias. Look it up. It's a thing. Sunk cost bias is basically where, because you have already sunk your cost into something, you are biased towards it. You keep something around because you put money into it. You've sunk a cost into it. You keep it around. You favor it. You don't remove it, even though it would be better off gone, because you had to spend more money on it, or time, or both. So we got these people who are going down careers that they hate, that they don't want to do, but because they put cost into it, they're now biased towards it, even though logically it's not for them. So I bring this up all the time. I bring it up in our follow-ups. I bring it up in my one-on-ones. This concept of sunk cost bias. And companies are guilty of it too. There is the fastest commercial jet, the Concorde. Well, from day one, that thing was losing money. The whole business, the structure, their model, everything was losing money. But because they sunk so much cost into the project just to get it started, they ran it for 15 years at a loss, billions of dollars at a loss. And so psychologists were interested in this and went and looked. And then that's when they coined the phrase sunk cost bias. And then they went and found, it's in almost every area of life, not just business, but with relationships, it's with your car or the place you live. You sunk so much cost into it. It's not good for you, but you're still biased towards it. We've got to stay away from that stuff, catch ourselves in it. And that's why we're talking about this law of awareness, self-discovery, asking these questions. It's going to be risky to change direction, but what risk do you want to live with? That's a good question. Okay, Newton just put a chat in here. He said, I have 2 classes left to complete my MA degree. I decided not to go back because that lapse will not change my life being in this community. Going down that path of continuing to get his degree is not going to change his life like being in this community. So Newton recognized it. Hey, I've sunk a cost into this, and tough titties, I'm changing. Whereas other people, Jeff Nurr, he's got some insight onto this. Let's hear about it, Jeff. So Jeff says, hey, we call sunk cost bias in the poker game being pot committed. Oh, interesting. You should be in the hand. Oh, you shouldn't be in the hand, and you know you're lost, but you put money in the hand, and so you have to see it through. Yeah, people do that. It's a crazy way to live. So be aware of your sunk cost bias. All right, next slide. Finding your passion and purpose. Right? Are you finding your passion and purpose? Are you really living it out? What would you like to do? There are a lot of people who get burnt out in this business because, or not in this business, but they get burnt out because they're doing too much of something they don't like to do, too much of the wrong thing, too much of the thing that's not a part of their soul, that's part of their purpose, part of their passion. They just think it makes money, so they have to do it, or because their neighbor's doing it, they have to do it. Burnout, when you hear people say, I'm just getting burnt out on this marketing thing, you gotta understand it's because they're doing it in a way that's not living into their passion. There's a way to, this is why Renatus is awesome. There's a way to convert your passion into a profit using Bob Snyder's system. And if it's not working, it's probably because you're trying to follow another method of someone else's passion and turning that into their profit in Renatus. There's so many ways. There's not a right way and a wrong way. There's just working the Renatus system, converting your passion. What is your passion? Is it puppies? Is it cars? Is it philanthropy? Is it art? Is it music? Is it design? There's a way to combine this business with your passion, and you'll never feel burnout. So I want you to capture this for a moment, because there are people in your office who are talking about feeling burnt out. And we don't want them to drop out. We don't want them to take a step back, right? There's people who are like, well, I think I'll take a step back. That'll probably be better for my life. No, it's not about taking a step back or putting time into something else. It's about looking at, is your passion and your work lined up? Burnout is not doing too much of something. Burnout is doing any amount of the wrong thing. So don't let your people quit. Just say, hey man, if you're burnt out, what are you spending so much time on that's not for you? It's not part of your purpose or your passion. And help them adjust. They're going to thank you immensely for that. Okay. Now, finding out what you can do versus what you want to do. Two different things. So let's ask ourselves a couple more questions. What is our dream? And let's be specific about it. What kind of talents and gifts and abilities do we have that might help us with that dream? What is driving us towards the dream? There's the dream itself, which is a destination, but then there's a drive, the journey along the way. What is that? What are your values and priorities along the way? What are you willing to not compromise? And what are your values and priorities? What are you willing to stick and make be the forefront of your mind when you're doing this? Then what are your motives? Are your motives to prove someone wrong, or are your motives to provide for your family? Are your motives to get back at someone, or are your motives to see what you're capable of? Right? Making sure your motives are lined up right too is also going to prevent any burnout, and making sure that this is a successful endeavor for you. Okay, so that's the can. This is the how. How to do what you want to do. Well, first is the awareness. We just asked all those awareness questions, and now it's getting into action. What kind of action? Massive action, daily action, hourly action, potentially, especially monthly action for different things that we're doing inside of our Renata systems. Lots of action. Then accountability. So telling people what you're going to do and then doing it. And then attraction. How are we bringing people? How are they getting into our tractor beam so they can't even think about working without us? They just want to be around us. Our community, our systems, our income. We got to be attractive. We also have to be committed, consistent, creative, purposeful, reflective, and grateful. These kinds of things, these kinds of ways of being are why a lot of people in Renatus make money. And also, by neglecting this, a lot of people are not making any money. They're focusing on just the doing. Do. I'm going to make calls, and I'm going to put out drop cards, and I'm going to go to these events. I'm going to do. But their way of being is they're inconsistent, they're complaining, they're fearful, they're begrudgingly doing it, they're complaining, they're wandering. You have to be a certain way to do this, and here's a great list of ways to be. And then find a coach or a mentor. It doesn't have to be your enroller. It doesn't have to be your 5-star. You know how many people have mentored me in Renatus that are not my 5-star or my enroller or anything? Right? I just sit back and look and watch and listen, and I'm being mentored. So you got to have a teachable spirit. You got to be prepared. You have to ask questions. You have to also demonstrate that you're learning from them and that you're not just being coachable in front of them and then not actually working on it. Because if you're not working on it, how are you going to be able to demonstrate that what that coach or that mentor is helping you with is something you're following through with? Being accountable. Now, in working with a coach or a mentor or someone like that, if you really want someone else's help and accountability, there's a certain way of engaging with people that are going to help you move through something. So think about it this way. Here's a loop. Here's what I asked you. Here's what I heard you say. Here's what I did. Now, can I ask more questions? Too often, I'll see IMAs get stuck in the, well, here's what I asked you, 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 here's what I asked you. I'm just going to keep asking questions. But they never do the, here's what I heard you say, and here's what I did based off of what I heard you say. They're just in the, tell me more things. I got more questions, and you give me more answers, but they never do anything based off of those questions and answers. So here's what I heard you ask. Here's what I heard you, or here's what I asked you. Here's what I heard you say. Here's what I did. Now let me ask more questions. Right? Here's what I read some books. I researched it some more. Here's what I did. And it's still not making sense. Can I ask some more questions? Cool. Absorbing it all. That's right. Okay, so our next set of questions for becoming more aware of who we are, what we want to create. Here's some more questions. What will it cost to change? To change your attitude, to change your outlook, to change your passion and purpose, to make these changes. What's it going to cost? To change how you spend your time, to change how you treat people. Another question, when can you start? And what will it look like when you get there? These kinds of questions. If you do the discovery process, then you can have this unwavering, purposeful action that is so attractive, people want to sign up, they want to attach, they'll pay to play. You got to have an unwavering direction. So, and also understanding our passion and purpose. Here's an interesting quote. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So constantly asking, what am I doing? Why? All these awareness questions. Because if you're just going to a job and because your neighbor is, and you're just driving this car because your neighbor is, and you're just wearing these clothes because your neighbor is, you're not living a life. Let's be aware. All right, last one for today is the law of the mirror. The law of the mirror. So you must see value in yourself and then add value to yourself. When you're looking in the mirror, what do you see? You should see value in yourself. This is what I'm talking about. Right? It's about self-image. It's all about how you see yourself. So you can see this picture here. I hope this is what you're doing in the morning when you look at yourself. You're getting ready, right? Getting ready for the day. This is what's going on in my mind. So the law of the mirror. Your view of your your view of yourself determines your behavior. So if you think you can or you think you can't, or you think you're going to do well or you think you're going to do poor, right? Your view of yourself determines your behavior. And here's a major key. You will never outperform your self-image. If your self-image and your view of yourself is that you make $50,000 a year, you can work 10 hours a week or 50 hours a week, and you're still going to make $50K a year because that's your self-image. So if you want to outperform what you've done in the past, you have to change your self-image. The value we put on ourselves is the value others will put on us. So when you're protecting your time, you say, no, I'm not going to do those time-wasting things, and you start to value yourself, others will start to value you also. So don't wait for others to value you. It doesn't work like that. The value we put on ourselves is the value others put on us. All right. Again, reiterating, if you place a small value on yourself, rest assured, the rest of the world will not raise the price. So you got to be telling yourself you're $500, $1,000, $2,000 an hour to do things. You start putting that value on yourself, others will too. Now, here's some steps to building this self-value, this self-esteem, this new version of seeing yourself. What kind of self-talk are you doing? Guard it. No negativity self-talk. None of that. Right? If we could hear how you were talking about yourself out loud, would we applaud you or would we lock you up? Stop comparing yourself to anyone. That's another great way to build your self-esteem. Don't compare to me. Don't compare to your neighbor. Don't compare to your professors and your other classmates. None of that comparing. Add value to other people is a great way to build your self-esteem. When you can do things for people in such a way that they'll never be able to repay you, your self-esteem goes way up. And when your self-esteem is up, you put a higher value on yourself, which means others put a higher value on you, and your income goes up. So what is something you could do today for someone who could never repay you? Henry Ford, whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. So what are we doing with our self-talk? What are we doing on a daily? Here's the thing. This is something that the world makes fun of Americans for, and we can clean this up. Do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing, right? Americans have this reputation in the worldview of only pursuing comforts and conveniences. I'll only do it if it's comfortable and convenient. But that doesn't build up a self-image or a self-esteem. That doesn't build up attraction. What does is doing the right thing even when it's annoying, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's your last-ditch effort, even when it doesn't matter when. You're going to do the right thing even when it's hard. We're going to do it on a daily, and we're going to celebrate victories, big and small. It doesn't matter what if we're not comparing, if you've done big things or small things. If it's a victory, celebrate. And embracing a positive image for your life. This whole, the universe conspires in my favor attitude. Right? Poor people think the universe is against them. Wealthy people think the universe is for them. So try this one on today. The universe conspires in my favor. Okay? When you arrive at a red light and you're in a hurry. Oh, the universe, you're doing this for me. Not to me, for me. Right? Someone says a silly comment to you and whatever, or you're anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you are taking responsibility for your life and seeing a positive outlook on your life, guess what? It'll be a positive outlook. The universe conspires in my favor. Okay? If you didn't get that deal or you did get that deal, you made a bunch of money, you didn't make any money. Your perspective is always, the universe is conspiring in my favor. They're doing this for me. So what is your self-image? What mirror are you looking at? Okay, remember, you will always perform to the level of your self-image. So do you see yourself doing great things, doing big things, impacting people in a positive way? How many people? Dozens, hundreds, thousands, millions? How many people are you impacting in a positive way on a daily basis? How are you talking to yourself? So consider these. If you got kids, talk to your kids about these laws of growth we talked about. Depends on how old they are, what language you'll use, but this is important stuff that people neglect. We want to see you thrive in this environment, in this thing called Renatus. We want to see your families cheer you on. We want to see you grow with ease, not with frustration, right? Even if it's hard, we're doing it with a smile because we are at ease. So if I could do it, you could do it. Anybody could do it. So we're going to hit these laws of growth. We're going to continue for the next couple sessions, spending more and more time on these laws of growth over the next 5 sessions or so, because that's what this is about. This is about growth. Are you getting closer to your goal? Are you becoming the person you intend to become? These are the important questions to ask. So we're gonna watch the Game On mashup music video now as we wrap up the day. Oh, stand by.
One day, little Billy.
It's a good song. Okay. Share. Okay, I appreciate you guys spending the day with us, taking this thing seriously. Again, thanks to Ron for setting this up. Every day he volunteers and he's here on time, setting things up for all of us. So let's be sure to say thanks to Ron when we see him. But now let's enjoy this Game On from last year, and then let's coordinate with our teams to get them out for our 2019 Renatus Rocks. You can submit them to customer service at myrenatus.com, or you can give them to your pack member and they can get them out into corporate so that they can see your beautiful face up on the giant screen celebrating your area. All right, so here it is, Game On 2018. Get inspired. Let's make our 2019 video.
One day, little Billy, working day, has to punch the clock, but he's not off. Life's too tough. He can't catch a break. Get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get my game on. I will play this game. I am not someday. They will hear my name. I'm not holding back. I will never break. Take these fears I face. Leave them in my way. Game on. If I can leave my 2 cents of belief, I might say, stop playing this and find your own way. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get my game on. I will play this game. I am not someday. They will hear my name. I'm not holding back. I will never break. Take these fears I face. Leave them in my way.
Listen, one I have, you know, it's my main man Billy, your average Joe, average guy with an average load, just trying not to crash on average road. Oh, Billy, I'd have you know, look your stamina close when you battle a foe, yo, you gotta climb no matter the slope, so go saddle up, grab your paddle and roll, and join rows of greats who all rose in the face of opposing tanks. Those with no restraint who got roses thrown cause they chose their fates. It'll be the same pond who's always finding somebody to put the blame on. Yeah, you can drop bombs, be a James Bond. Billy, all you gotta do is get your game on. I am not self-made. They will tear me. Never take play the game.
I am not someday. They will hear my name. I'm not holding back. I will never take these fears. I will take them in my way. There's something on. One day, little Billy.
There we go.
Working day.
This is the mix-up mashup right here.
But he's not off. Life's too tough. He can't catch a break. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get my game on. I will play this game. I am not someday. They will hear my name. I'm not holding back. I will never break. Take these fears I face. Leave them in. If I can leave my 2 cents of belief, I might say, stop playing this and find your own game. Get it done. Gotta get it done. Gotta get my game on. I will play this game. I am not your man. They will be Mondays. I will never break. Take these fears I face. Leave them in my way.
Listen, what I have, you know, it's my main man Billy, your average Joe, average guy with an average load, just trying not to crash on average road. Oh, Billy, I have, you know, stamina close when you battle the foe. Yo, you gotta climb, no matter the slope. So go, saddle up, grab your paddle and roll. And join rows of greats who all rose in the face of opposing tanks. Those with no restraint who got roses thrown cause they chose their fates. Don't be the same pawn who's always finding somebody to put the blame on. Yeah, you can drop bombs, be a James Bond. Billy, all you gotta do is get your game on. I am not play the game.
I am not somebody will hear my name. I'm not falling back. I'm never take these fears. I will see them in my way. Something on.
Instead of checking, cooking him.
Woo! That was awesome, guys. So when you're out there doing cool stuff today, you should definitely be considering, hey, can I include this in the music video? Is this something I could just sing 2 lines to or whatever? So get out there, build this music video, share it with your team. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.